Hi, my name is Hat here. I'm bringing you Season 2, Week 4 of the GBA. This is the match against Tom and the San Jose Sharpedos. And this is a very interesting match because this is technically not the match you guys should be seeing. I say that because 38 minutes into the battle Tom and I were having, DC'd, and at that point, not only was it late at night, we both had to get up early and work in the morning, but 38 minutes in, it's impossible to replicate, and all sets were known on my side. Most of Tom's sets were known on his side, and all strategies were kind of out in the open on what we were trying to do against each other. So there was really no way to come back and replicate. So what we decided to do is take a little bit of like a day or so off, come back with a complete restart. So teams are slightly different, strategies are slightly different, and the issue with that is the first game we both kind of brought stuff that was best served for the other team. So these are kind of like second-rate teams against each other, I guess. I don't even know if that's what you want to call it, but it's definitely not the battle either of us would have liked to upload. The first battle was very good, but we're gonna have to deal with this, and this battle still is a very good battle, so don't get me wrong there. But if you guys have not checked out Tom and his channel yet, definitely go check it out after this. And if you haven't heard yet, the GBA got a brand new website thanks to Kyle or Deathstroke. You guys know him as the Chicago Grand Bull, so definitely peep that out on Twitter and whatnot. But I'm going to lead off of my specs as Zelf. I figured worst comes to worst, I can U-turn. And I knew from our other battle that Swampert is a big threat to my team in the sense of it stops a lot of what I want to do. And I figured I had to go to the energy ball. I knew he was probably going to switch out because he knew I had Grass Knot from the battle before. But I figured, you know, I had to at least go for it in case he wanted to get cheeky. And this turn right here really messed with me because I wanted to switch into Hippowdon, but I knew because he wasn't Mega'd, his weather would get up first. And I did not have a especially defensive Hippowdon in my range, or in my accessibility at this point. So I figured he's going to want to go for the fire attack. I'll switch into Infernape, scare it off with Stone Edge or Thunder Punch. I'll U-turn out into Hippowdon and go from there. He predicts that nicely, and I lose Infernape turn 2 or turn 3. And the thing with that is Infernape is a huge key to my offense. So I figure I'm going to go into Thundurus, and odds of him switching in Swampert to absorb a electric attack or Thunder Wave kind of high. So I figure I'm going to try my luck with Grass Knot. But again, because Tom and I had battled 38 minutes before, he kind of knew that I was going to run Grass Knot on this. I figure I'm going to take a risk here and just Thunder Wave it. I knew from our battle before that he actually ran Tailwind in the first battle on this Latias in case he needed to outspeed Scarf Chomp with Scarf Kyurem B just to guarantee him. And having Tailwind is a great strategy, especially seeing Joe use it effectively. But I don't like this matchup, so I'm just going to Volt Turn. And you know how Volt Turn works. I'm just trying to kill turns of Sun 2, trying to find a good time in when to switch in Hippowdon. I figured he would have the Hidden Power Fire regardless, but this Excadrill has a really interesting EV spread, and it's Assault Vest, so it's, even though that's Hidden Power Fire in the Sun, look how little that did. So I'm not worried about that at all. And I have a little trick up my sleeve with this Excadrill. I didn't want to reveal it just now because I figured he was going to switch out. I'm just going to go for the safe Rock Slide because he does have Mandibuzz, he does have Charizard that, you know, might want to come in on like on some other move. But I figured Rock Slide will be good, and it'll give me the ability later on in the match to bust out my secret weapon with this Excadrill. But it's just going to go into his Swampert, which takes that hit real well. I know I can't stay in here, and I got to switch out. So I'm going to go into Hippowdon, even just to set up the sand at least. Maybe he wanted to go for Stealth Rock or Roar or something. I figured, you know, I'll die probably to 2 Scalds because I'm not specially defensive, which is unfortunate. And he does get a max damage roll there. I did the Kelk after the battle. There was a potential that he wouldn't 2-hit KO me. I believe it was about 50% going either way, but because he got a max damage roll there, that's going to guarantee the kill on Hippowdon if I were to stay in. But I figure I got the stand up, but I don't want to go into Excadrill fearing the burn, so I figure my Thundurus, it's bulky. I'm still running that variant because it's such a good matchup against a lot of things, and it takes the but the burn happens, and that burn hurts because it kills my survivability with this Thundurus. It does have leftovers which kind of cancel out, but with Sandstorm kind of racking up too, I'd just rather not have the burn. But I guess if anything on my team is going to take the burn, I guess I'd rather have it be Thundurus or Hippowdon, something to that extent. But he's going to go into his Latias again, and I figure, you know, the Volt Switch, there's no way he's going to stand. He knows I have Grass Knot, and all it takes is me to make one good prediction of him not switching out, and he's dead. So I'm going to go back into Excadrill. After he saw the Rock Slide, he really has nothing to fear, especially because he does have Hidden Power Fire. So he shouldn't really be too worried. And this Excadrill, I have X-Scissor on it. And that just completely takes his Latias out, which helps me a ton. I decided I did want to run Sand Rush over Mold Breaker this battle, just because if I could keep my sand up just a little bit, I wouldn't have any issues outspeeding stuff. But again, that all required me to be able to get sand up after his Charizard had already gotten the sun up. But I'm just going to switch into Hippowdon now, generally just as fodder to get my sand up. On the off chance he does want to go for something weird, I can maybe survive, but he hits me with the Will-O-Wisp. So that's good I ended up switching out, because having Excadrill burn would have just been a horrible, horrible thing. But at least the Sandstorm now is kind of racking damage up. Like I said, I know because I'm not specially defensive, I'm not going to be able to survive this hit. I am impish, and yeah, I believe I'm max HP, max defense, something like that. But Hippowdon is going to go down just because Charizard Y is so good, that base special attack. But at least the Sandstorm is withering away, and now I got about 4 more turns of Sand to abuse if I want. So I'm going to go back in Excadrill, but I know he's not going to stay in here because I'm going to be faster and Rock Slide's going to kill him. So I figure I'm going to double out into a Zelf, and that way I can either U-turn or I can hit something very hard with a Specs, Shadow Ball, Psychic, or Energy Ball I have on this. And he goes into Swampert, and he knows I have the Energy Ball. So I'm going to U-turn out here, predicting Mandibuzz to come in and take that. Mandibuzz or Florges. So I U-turn out, which is nice and effective, even though it doesn't really do anything, and the Rocky Helmet hurts, but I'm not too worried about that. Azelf is kind of here to clean up, and worst comes to worst, just kind of be my chip damage. It's not my win condition yet. And as we'll see when we get later on in the battle, I realize a little too late I make a very interesting play that changes my win condition severely. But I'm just going to go into Thundurus on the knockoff, and yeah, it sucks I don't have leftovers, especially now with the burn and the Sandstorm up. But I'm gonna keep Volt switching out just to try to keep getting momentum, because I know it's too risky for him to switch in Swampert at this point. But I get a crit here, which is nice. It just puts a little more damage on it, and I'm gonna switch out and going back into Excadrill. And at this point, he does not know that I do not have Iron Head on this set. I ended up opting out of Iron Head in terms of move coverage for X-Scissor just to handle Latias a little easier in case I couldn't get in with Garchomp, because he does have that Fairy to completely eat up any kind of Dragon type attacks. But this we get a little bit of mind games here. I go for the Earthquake, just a safe move. I figured he wasn't going into Charizard anytime, and Earthquake does a lot. And this puts me in a weird situation of, do I keep Earthquaking and have him just be able to switch out after he sees how little he's doing with Scald? I believe he goes for Rock Slide here, probably. I'm not sure why. I don't know if he expected me to switch out into Thundurus, predicting like a Scald or an Earthquake, or what. But he goes to the Rock Slide, it does nothing. So I'm sitting here, I know Earthquake has a really good chance of taking it out, but because of Earthquake twice in a row, why would he not switch out? Or switching out, it seems like a good idea. So I figured I'll be safe, I'll go for the Rock Slide just in case, and this is when he goes for the Scald. And luckily he does not get the burn. I live thanks to the Assault Vest and my EV spread. But now I'm put in a really tough decision. Do I Rock Slide again, or do I Earthquake? And I figure I'll cut the middle ground, I'll go for the X-Scissor, and it does enough that it kind of justifies letting Excadrill die. However, letting Excadrill die really hurts this team in terms of what can switch into special attacks, and just, yeah, it's just something that can put in a lot of work. I'm going to go into Azelf. I figure no matter what he's going to do, Shadow Ball is going to hit it hard. I'm Specs, Azelf, it's a strong Pokemon. So finally the Swampert goes down, which helps dramatically for me to start getting some momentum going. But he's going to go into Kyurem B. And I know this thing is going to be Scarf. I didn't expect him to run the sub variant just because he needs to guarantee to some extent he can outspeed stuff if I don't run Jolly Scarf Chomp. So I'm going to hit it with Shadow Ball. I figure with what I have left, I need to fodder something out. I need to just get damage. I can't keep switching around and let something take a free hit, especially because Ice Beam is just going to run train through it. So I at least get like 30-some% off on the Kyurem B, and it's not too big of an issue. I am going to go into Garchomp, and I knew he was probably going to switch out into Mandibuzz or Florges, trying to absorb a Dragon Claw, so I'm going for the Stone Edge because I figured with him being Ice type, that's still going to be super effective. And I do a good chunk to this Mandibuzz on the switch, and I hit these 2 Stone Edges in a row, and the Mandibuzz is gone. The crit probably didn't matter too much, maybe min-max damage, but it is Stone Edge with that high critical hit ratio. In terms of, you get that as your trade-off for then having a very hard accuracy to hit with 70. But this is where it cost me right here. I switched out and he calm-minded. After I did this, I realized my win condition was hitting 5 Stone Edges in a row after that Mandibuzz was down. If I Stone Edge would have taken out this Florges, it would have taken out Charizard, and it would have taken out Kyurem B had I hit them all. Because I switched out, it allows his Florges to get a calm mind up, get a little more leftovers. And it sucks because what my thought process was is if I miss and the Florges kills me, I can't win on Thundurus because I'm not Scarfed and I'm burned and I'm dead and I have leftovers. Thunderbolt does almost nothing, and Moonblast is going to take me out. So I'm left with just Scarf Garchomp. It's 3v3 or 1v3. Had Florges been out of the way, I could have locked myself into Dragon Claw and had no issue with this win. But I had to go for Stone Edge, and of course now this is when I missed my Stone Edge when it counts the most. So the Thunders are now 3-1 going into Week 4. There are no undefeated teams, I believe, as I believe the Steelix did beat the Arizona Deoxys. So the season's getting a little more shaken up just a bit. But good game, Tom. And thank you guys for watching. Unfortunately, like I said, no one will get to see the first battle we had. But it was still a really good battle for what we both had to deal with, especially just with having to redo teams and all that stuff. But thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.